Hi. Hey Tressa, how are you feeling? How's it going? Yeah, what do you have to say? Okay, put your little head up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good morning, Sloth. How are you? Even though I know that you are, that's just... Wait, I misheard. I didn't read the other comment. What did you say? Even though I know that you are, that's just what she's saying to me. What is she saying? She could be saying so many things. What are you saying? What are you saying to everybody? What are you saying to everybody? Princess Jasmine wants to be seen and not hidden. She does. She does. You are absolutely right. She wants to be seen and not hidden. I mean, that is a fact. Yeah. I didn't need you to tell me that because she told me that. Yeah. She does. She 100% does. She tries to show herself. Silly girl. Silly, silly girl. She sure does. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. We're making Mommy's coffee because Mommy needs it. That was weird. Right as I was walking back over, it had like a live request from 2 different people at the same time. I've never seen that. Yeah, we did, Stacy. We did. She's 9 days old today. 9 days. Can you believe you're 9 days old? Can you pick up your little head, please? Yeah, do it right there. That's better. It's better for your neck. There you go. That's a better position for your neck. Mommy likes that better. Let's pull this up. There you go. We have a 9-day-old today. It is true. 9 days. I know, sweet girl. Mommy needs coffee. Mommy needs coffee. That is a fact. Dylan is quite pleased with the sweet baby noises. Aw, thank you, Dylan. Dylan, did you know your brother also was very good with babies? He was so good with my nephew. He was really good to Ethan. I was very impressed with him. You might keep your head up for Mommy. Yeah. You look content. Yeah. You look... Oh, yeah. Okay. I know. Your granddaughter's a month old? Oh, congratulations. That must be so fun. My mom is actually coming to say hello to this baby girl this morning on her way to work. Oh, she's singing, you guys. Are you going to sing? Go ahead. She's asleep, so, you know. Oh, yeah, no, we don't keep it quiet for her during the day. We only keep it quiet at night. During the day, we run the vacuum. We leave the house at normal sounds. We don't, you know. We had the baby 9 days ago. 9 days ago. Yeah, she's brand new. She's just little. Yeah. Are you singing for everybody? Go ahead. Say, yeah. Oh, the machine's too loud. Oh, wah, wah. She does do newborn scrunch sometimes, but she also really loves to stretch out like she did in the womb. She used to stretch her legs like crazy. We even have ultrasounds of her leg just going... because she loved doing that so much, and she still does that. Yeah, you still do that, huh? That was a big sigh for someone with no obligations. That was a big sigh for someone who has no obligations whatsoever. No obligations. You have a very easy life right now. Your life is so good, so cushy. So cushy. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. Tell me more about that. Mommy's making coffee. Yum, yum, yum. Mommy loves coffee. I feel pretty good, Christy. I mean, like, the obvious things are still sore, but other than that, I'm okay. I think I handle, I have to say, like, there was a time when I was in grad school that I was an overnight nanny, and I think that really helped prep me for being up with her at different hours and not being frustrated, because I just kind of roll with it. I see a lot of moms in my due date groups get so overwhelmed with it, but yes, she wants to be the center. But like, I'm lucky that I had that experience, so I had practice, if you will. So like, yeah, I'm a new mom, hey Ellie, but I was a nanny to so many little ones that I think I have a good handle on things, so I have a little bit of a leg up, in the sleepless nights regard and all that stuff. I'm not saying that it's perfect or anything like that, but I think it helps, right? Because that was my grad school job for a while. I nannied this little boy overnight, and then I would go to grad school during the day. Yeah. So, all that jazz. All that jazz, I'm on rouge my knees and roll my stockings down. You like that? You opened your eyes to hear Mommy sing that? And all that jazz. Start the car, I know a whoopee spot where the gin is cold and the piano's hot. I know they can't smile at this age, but sometimes it really does look like she's smiling at me, and it warms my heart. I'm gonna pretend she's smiling, even though I know she can't. You think that's funny that Mommy pretends? Mommy's allowed to pretend. I can pretend you're smiling. I can pretend. Mommy's allowed to play make-believe too. Yes. Yes, she is. You can't tell me no. Mommy can play make-believe anytime she wants. Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pretend it is. I had her 9 days ago, Maya. 9 days ago, on the 25th. I know. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Morning, Addie. We're just making coffee for Mommy, and then we will read. But Mommy needs coffee. She does. She needs the coffee. Yes. 'Tis a necessity for Mommy. Are you showing her? No, we're not showing her. She just comes to book club because she likes to be read to, but she hides her little face in this wrap that my husband bought for me, which was very kind of him. Whoosh. Yeah, look at that. Good stuff. Yum, yum, yum. I know, she makes those. Elliot's just noticed you guys are live and he's also like, hi, Elliot, you like babies too, sweet boy? Yes. Tell me more, like does he have a car? Ba-da, ba-doo, ba-da, ba-doo, ba-da, ba-doo, doo-doo. Thank you for singing with me, I appreciate it. Hey, Auntie Grayson. Auntie Grayson is here. Say hi. Say hi, Auntie Grayson. You love her so much. You can't wait to see her. Yes, it's true. She's smiling for you. Yes. Do I have any postpartum symptoms? Do you mean physically or emotionally or mentally? Mentally, I feel great. Emotionally, I'm obsessed with her. Physically, there's stuff, but I think that's normal. I think it's normal to be a little bit not perfect when you've only had a baby 9 days ago, right? But other than that, we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys down for a second because, actually, wait, I might be able to do this without putting you down. Let's see. How good is Mommy getting at this job? Oh, Mommy put her coffee down. without having to put the phone down. Look at mommy go. Mommy's gonna put the phone on the tripod too. Mommy's a pro. She is an Aquarius, that's right. So is her daddy, and so are many of her family members. Yes, okay, let's back. So, mommy deserves to have a sip of coffee before we start, don't you think? What do you think? Can mommy get a sip of coffee out of this? She was born on the 25th. Yeah, she's brand new. Like, Diana was at the Grammys last night and it shook me. You mean like Diana Ross? I know you love her. There's so many Dianas, you know? Yes, having no hands is the new normal. That's right. Isn't it crazy how, yeah, I mean, it feels forever and not at all at the same time. You're absolutely right. Hello, everybody. You were 3 days off. What do you mean 3? Oh, from guessing? Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Oh my God, wait, your baby was born on the 25th also? Shut up, we have twins? Oh my gosh, yours was born first though. Mine was born in the evening. Wait, was yours born at 10:25 in the AM or the PM? Oh my God, that's so amazing. She did not end up being the same year as my sister. She came as a dragon. My sister is a snake, but her uncle is a dragon, so we're all good. Congratulations on our twin babies. How fun. That's so exciting. Tell us more about yours. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, so yours is just a little older than mine, but just like barely. That's so funny. Oh my gosh, how cool. Well, we'll have to keep checking up because we're literally in the exact same moment of this. You have a little bit more experience than I do, clearly, but still very cool. Very cool. We found a twin for you. We found a twin for you. You know what? The other day, we had to take her to the, yeah, we need more dragons right now. We took her to one of her doctor's appointments. Hey, Ray. So we were at her doctor's appointment because, you know, the first week you have to take them to like these appointments or whatever, and we sit down in the, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. We sat down in the well baby room to like wait for our turn, and this other mom and grandma walked in holding a teeny tiny baby. Yeah, you want to show your little hand? Beep boop beep. Want to see a little hand? Beep boop. There it is. And this tiny baby, I was like, oh my gosh, that baby's so tiny. How old is your baby? And the mom was like, he was born on Monday. And I was like, oh my God, mine was born on Saturday. So by the time she went to her first appointment, she already met a baby who was younger than her. I was like, I didn't expect you to meet a younger man so early in life. But she did. I know, that was funny, huh? His name was Brock. He was a nice boy. He was a nice boy. Yeah. Yeah, he was. He looked very nice. It was so funny. I was like, wow, younger baby already, and she was only 3 days old, or 4 days old at the time. I was like, how is it possible that at 4 days old you're already meeting a younger child? Wild. On here you can call her Gracelyn, or you can call her Jasmine, or I mean Secret Baby. You can kind of call her whatever you want, to be honest. Okay. Do you want to put your head a little more straight for mommy? That'll make mommy feel better? I know you love it that way, but mommy doesn't love it that way. Yeah. Yeah. Just a little. Okay. In your little cove. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You want to show them your hand? Beep boop. Yes. So it is time. Yes, Rainbow Princess. That's right. Rainbow Princess. Although Grayson, she wants to be Jasmine. She really does. We will show you videos, Grayson. She wants to be Jasmine. That is her only princess that she loves as much as she loves her. We tried the other princesses and she's like, I mean, I could take it or leave it. You put on Jasmine and she's like, yes. It's so funny. She loves Lea Salonga's voice, so Mulan works too. She's obsessed with Lea Salonga's voice. Obsessed. And obviously Jasmine and Mulan have the same voice, so, you know. Have you watched Aladdin with her outside yet? We haven't watched Aladdin, but we play the music for her a lot. This looks so funny. I look like I have the most lopsided humongo chest on the planet because there is a tiny human strapped to my chest. That's funny. All right, let's get the book. Let's get the book. I did have her. Yes, she's here. How's your head? You look very comfortable. But I would love for you to move your little head just a smidgy this way. Can we just do one of those? Yeah, that's better. I know you were comfy the other way, but Mommy would like you this way. You should have her choose Disney Sidekick when you can. Yes, that's a great idea. We should put out a bunch of the Disney Sidekick stuffed animals and have her crawl to them. 100% love that idea. I love that idea. We'll get an Abu, we'll get a Flounder, we'll get like either Chip or like a Lumiere or whatever. What else can we get? We could get Mushu, obviously, from Mulan. No, we're not showing her face, but she just hangs out with us during book club. We could get a Raja, of course. I mean, that seems like the winner, right? What a great idea, Roxy. I love that idea. You see the people doing the Pokemon ones and stuff all the time. Well, let's do Disney Princess Sidekicks. I love it. What a great idea. That's literally genius. I'm obsessed. What a great idea. A+ for you. That's a fantastic idea. Oh my gosh. Like, I haven't loved an idea that much in a long time. She is 9 days old. She's 9 days old. Yeah, Mama Shark, you know, it's just one of those things. I think that if I maybe didn't have a social following, I wouldn't care because, like, who would care? You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things I'm doing as, like, a safety precaution because you never know. Like, not that I think anyone is, like, crazy obsessed with me or anything like that, but, you know, like, people get weird brains about children. You know, stuff like that. Like my friend Ellen, my friend Ellen has a podcast, and it's a very popular podcast, but like not that popular. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to downplay her success. She's an extremely successful podcaster, but she's not like a millionaire or anything like that. She's just like a regular podcaster, but she does tour her podcast, and she is pretty popular. People doxed her child's school because they didn't like one of the takes on her podcast. I was like, so like that was the moment where I was like, but I think my niece calls me Boo as it a boo. See, maybe she'll do that too. Wouldn't that be funny, Grayson? That would be funny. Yeah, it is insane, Claire. So like Ellen put out a podcast about Scott Peterson because it's a true crime podcast, and on her podcast they just posed the question that, well, that's totally different, Nikki. You know that is totally different. But like they did Sloth. So Ellen and her podcast partner posed the question on the podcast, what if Scott Peterson didn't do it and he's on death row for no reason? They're not saying they know for sure. They're not saying they have any proprietary evidence or anything like that. See you later, Grayson. We'll text later. They were just posing the question because that's what things like this do, and people got so mad that they literally doxed her kid's school. We were like, you guys, you need to be able to have discourse without freaking out about it. Like, they're not in charge of letting him free, so even if he did it, their opinion means nothing in the world. They're not the judge. They're just podcasters. Like, let it go. Yep, she's right here. Yep, this is the baby. This big lump on my chest is this baby. She's 9 days old. Oh yeah, no, Nikki, your kids don't bother me at all. I would happily let her play with your children. You have the sweetest children. What does dox a school mean? They published the address of her child's school and her name publicly to try to get people to go and like find her. Scary stuff, very scary. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. I was pregnant, but I am no longer. Thank goodness, because this is so much better than pregnancy. She was born on the 25th. She's 9 days old. Yeah, she's 9 days old. She's whittle. I know, right? People are crazy. And that's why we're being extra careful. That's why we're not using her full name on here. We're using fake names and stuff like that. Because, like, if they don't have her name, they can't dox her. You know what I mean? Like, how would they? Your daughter's almost 5. Oh my gosh, my niece is almost 5. My niece is the other love of my life. I'm obsessed with my niece and nephew. I love them. Thank you, Kylie. That's very sweet of you to say. I feel pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I feel better than I did when I was pregnant, that's for damn sure. Yeah, you can call her Rainbow Baby, you can call her Jasmine. A lot of people joke and call her Graceland because she got a blanket that was accidentally printed with the name Graceland, even though that's not her name on it, which is funny. She is my first. She might be my only, but that's okay. When you get perfection, why mess with it, right? You thought that was funny? Okay, let's read before somebody wakes up. Rainbow Dad's here to see Rainbow Baby. Yeah, that's right. Okay, did you ever get the right blanket? We did, and you guys, the blanket is actually so nice. We use it every day. It's a really good blanket. Birth was pretty good. I posted my birth story if anyone needs a positive story in their life. You have 2 boys? Yeah. My sister has one of each. I have this one. Oh, tell me my pregnancy was awful. Definitely no more baby. Seriously, I feel that deep. My pregnancy wasn't awful, but like, I don't know if I want to do it again. You know, I'm happy with this one. She came out so perfect to like, why mess with it? Okay, here we go. Chapter 8. We're doing well with sleep, Millie. Thank you for asking. Here we go. Time to read. She loves this part. She gets really like lulled when we read. Queen Anne, you sit in the sun, fair as a lily and white as a wand, a spell to shed light requiring heartwood and heat. Interesting. Beatrice Belladonna dreams of Agnes that night, but when she wakes up, only Juniper is there in the stuffy dark of her attic room. She knows by the damp gleam of Juniper's eyes that she's awake too, but neither of them mentions their middle sister, and there are many things they don't mention. And yet, Juniper keeps sleeping in her room, and Beatrice keeps letting her, and she supposes it could just go on this way. Juniper spending her days busy with the association and coming home with pins and sashes and rolled up signs that need painting. Beatrice spending her library shifts following whispers and witch tales towards the lost way, but never quite telling her little sister what she knows, or thinks she knows, maybe because it feels too unlikely, too impossible, maybe because it doesn't feel impossible enough. Thank you, Rachel. Maybe because she worries what a woman like Juniper would do if the power of witching is won back. Spring in New Salem is a great and sulking creature, and by the middle of April, Beatrice feels like a tall, bespeckled mushroom. Juniper has taken to lighting her pitch pine wand in the evenings just to feel sunlight on her skin, talking wistfully about the bluebells and the bloodroot and the flowers back home. Beatrice asks her once when she plans to return to Crow County. She's sure that their cousin Dan would let Juniper live in Mags's old house for nothing, or, well, nearly nothing, even if he is a dumb shit. But Juniper's face closes up like a house with drawn shutters, and the witch light fades from the wand tip, leaving them in the chill darkness. Beatrice adds it to the list of unmentionable things that pass between them. The next morning, Juniper leaves early for the association, and Beatrice reads her paper alone at the breakfast table. She has recently become a subscriber to the New Salem Defender, in addition to the Post. This, she assures herself, is merely part of her increasing interest in the political news and has nothing to do with the tinge in her fingertips when she sees the name C.P. Quinn printed in small capitals, and she wonders what the P stands for and if colored women have mothers' names. Beatrice is assigned to the circulation desk that afternoon. She helps a white-bearded monk with his biography of Geoffrey Hawthorne, G. Hawthorne, the scourge of Old Salem, and lights lamps for a cluster of haggard students who look as if they would rather change their names and flee into the countryside than finish the spring term. By afternoon, she's at the desk, supposedly processing recent arrivals, a new edition of the Seeley's Expansion of England, an account of the East India Company's campaign against the thuggy witches of India, and a bound version of Jackson Turner's The Witch in American History, which argues that the threat and subsequent destruction of Old Salem defined America's virtuous spirit, but is really watching whale belly sky through the mulliness windows. And then she feels her eyelids hinge shut. Is C.P. Quinn related to y'all? I hope so. She sounds like a badass, if I'm being honest. You guys remember, C.P. Quinn was the woman from the previous chapter who approached her and was like, hi, I write for the other paper, you know? And she was like asking all sorts of questions about the association. She seems like a B that I want to be friends with. Yeah, she's a DB. I can feel it in my bones. So I hope we're related. Yes. Maybe not, but especially because Quinn is my married last name, it seems unlikely for me, but you do you. Also, my family has not been in this country very long. Secret Husband's family has been in this country for hundreds and hundreds of years. I am a first-generation American, so I have no ties to American history, unfortunately, because I am first generation. Well, I'm second generation on one side, but first generation on the other side. But even so, barely 100 years of this family's bloodline of this country. That's why sometimes when people say things like, oh, there's like some crossover of, and they like name all different, you know, ethnicities or things, like there's some crossover in every American. I'm like, depends on when your family got here, friends. Some of us came real late in the grand scheme of things. My biological father came to America in the 70s, so there's not really a lot of crossover there. She wakes to an amused voice saying, "Pardon me?" She unpeels her face from The Witch in American History and snaps upright, adjusting her spectacles with mounting horror. Today, Miss Cleopatra P. Quinn has her derby hat tucked politely beneath one arm. Oh, she's back. I love her already. Her gentleman's coat has been replaced by a double-button vest, and her hair is swept into braided crown. It must be raining because water purls over her bare skin, catching the light the way that Beatrice has no name for, except to call her luminous. My mom is my Italian side. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Beatrice manages to strangle out, what are you doing here? This is the Once and Future Witches, Bella. Yeah, the rest of the book is already uploaded. This is chapter 8. Miss Quinn adopts an arch, censorious expression, although a certain irreverence glitters in her eyes. Well, I was under the impression that libraries were public institutions. Oh, yes, that is, Beatrice thought, you came to see me. Beatrice closes her eyes briefly in mortification, and then she tries again. Oh, welcome to the Salem College Collections. How can I help you? Much better. The irreverence has escaped her eyes and now curls at the corners of her mouth. I'm looking for information on the tower last seen in St. George Square and the last 3 witches of the West. Her voice is far too loud when she says this. Beatrice makes an abortive movement as if she might launch herself across the desk and press her palm over Miss Quinn's lips. Saints, woman, anyone could overhear you. So take me someplace more private then. She gives Beatrice another one of those highly inappropriate looks, and Beatrice swallows, feeling like a harried pawn on a chessboard. Mr. Blackwell agrees to cover the circulation desk and watches the pair of them retreat to Beatrice's office with a doubtful expression. He comes from a broad-minded Quaker stock, but there are rules about people like Miss Quinn lingering too long in the Salem College library. The rules aren't written down anywhere, but important rules rarely are. That's interesting. Very interesting. Beatrice clicks her door closed and turns around to find Miss Quinn, reading the spines of stacked books and peering at the black leather notebook that lies open on the table. Beatrice snaps it shut. As I told you on a previous occasion, I'm afraid I don't know anything about the events at the square or the last 3. You are, of course, welcome to search our collections, though. Oh, but I was hoping for a guided tour from someone with more intimate information. Her tone is overly warm, over-familiar, and over everything. She's doing what Mama Mags calls laying it on thick. Why? What does she know about 3 circles woven together, 3 lost witches and their not-so-lost way? Beatrice puts frost in her voice. Well, what do you want? Only what every woman wants. And what's that? Miss Quinn's smile hardens, and Beatrice thinks that that must be her true smile beneath the dazzle and shine of whatever act she's been putting on. What belongs to her? She hisses. What was stolen? That's a different kind of wanting in her tone now, one that Beatrice believes she hasn't felt. Beatrice believes because hasn't she felt it too? But she hesitates. Miss Quinn plants her palms on Beatrice's desk and leans across it. You and I are both women of words, I surmise. We share an interest in truth-seeking, storytelling. Surely we might share those stories with one another? I am capable of great discretion, I do assure you. Her voice is all honey again now, oozing sincerity. Whatever you tell me, I will keep just between the 2 of us, I promise. Beatrice manages a breathy laugh, dizzy with clove and ink scent on her skin.
Are you a journalist or a detective, Miss Quinn? Oh, every good journalist is also a detective. She leans away, straightening her sleeves. And what are you? Oh, yes, we will have slime lives again in a couple of weeks, but yes, we did have the baby. She's 9 days old, yeah. But we're still reading because reading is good for all of us, yeah? I'm nothing, Beatrice says, because it's true. She was born nobody and taught to stay that way. Remember what you are. And now, she's just a skinny librarian with gray already streaking her hair and a premonition of spinsterhood. Miss Quinn raises her eyebrows and nods at the ratty notebook still clutched to Beatrice's chest. And what of your work? Would you say that's nothing? Beatrice should say yes. She should toss her notes aside and flick her fingers and say, oh, that? No, just moonbeams and dreams. But her fingers tighten on her notebook instead. It's not much. It's just conjecture so far. But I think, she wets her lips, but I think I found the words. What? What is it? You don't like that she downplays her work? I know, me either. But I think, she wets her lips, I think I found the words and the ways to call back the lost ways of Avalon. Or, some of them, hey, Noah. Noah's here, say hi. Noah, you should hear her sing already. She's a star. She flinches as she said it, half waiting for the crack of a nun's knuckles or the cold draft of the cellar. Miss Quinn does not scorn or scold her. Really? She says and waits, listens. Beatrice hasn't listened very often. She finds it makes her heart flutter in a most distracting fashion. Yes, it's this rhyme our grandmother taught us. I thought that she made it up, but I found it in the back of a first edition copy of the Grimm's Witching Tales. You're familiar with the Grimms, of course. She tells Miss Quinn about the wayward sisters and the maiden's blood, and her theory that secrets might have survived somehow in old wives' tales and children's rhymes. This must sound ridiculous to you. But Miss Quinn lifts one shoulder. No, not to me. Sometimes a thing is too dangerous to be written down or said straight out. Sometimes you have to slip it in slantwise, halfway. Even if I pieced together the spell, I doubt any of us had enough witch blood to work at it. All the true witches were burned centuries ago. All of them, Miss Eastwood? There's a hint of pity in Quinn's voice. How then did Cairo manage to repel the Ottomans and the Redcoats both for decades? Despite all their rifles and ships, why did Andrew Jackson leave those Choctaw in Mississippi out of all the goodness of his little black heart? The pity sharpens, turning scathing. Do you really think the slavers found every witch aboard their ships and tossed her overboard? Beatrice has encountered wild theories that there was witchcraft at work at Stono and Haiti, and that Turner and Brown were aided by supernatural means. She'd heard the scintillating whispers about colored covens still prowling the streets, but at St. Hale's she was taught that such stories were base rumor and the product of ignorance and superstition. Quinn gentles her tone. Maybe even good St. George missed a witch or two during the purge. How do you think that your grandmother came to know those words in the first place? Yes, we did have the baby. She's here. She's right here. Beatrice has not permitted herself to ask that question aloud, to wonder who Mags's mother was and who her mother's mother was. Witch blood runs thick in the sewers, after all. Surely it's worth looking for these missing words and the ways of yours, at least. Well, perhaps. Beatrice swallows hard against the hope rising in her throat. But they don't seem to want to be found. She gestures at her desk strewn with scraps and open books and dead ends. I've read the Sisters Grimm a dozen times, every edition I could find. I've made a good start on the other folklorists, Charlotte Perrault, Andrea Lang, but if there are any secret instructions or notes tucked into them, they're faded, stained, they're lost. She doesn't mention the shadow hand that she saw slate against the page, or the creeping sense that someone doesn't want the words to be found. On the ground, she wants Miss Quinn to continue thinking of her as a sane adult. I've been looking, but I've been failing. Miss Quinn does not look particularly distressed. She gives Beatrice a smart nod and sets her derby hat on the desktop. She unbuttons her sleeves and rolls them up, revealing several inches of pock-scarred wrist. Well, naturally. Oh? Miss Quinn perches on the same stack of encyclopedias that Juniper occupied a few weeks before, and she extends her hand, palm upward, toward Beatrice and her black notebook. Her expression is teasing, but her eyes are sober. Her hand is steady. You didn't have me before. Beatrice rubs her thumb along the spine of her notebook, stuffed full of her most private thoughts and theories, her wildest superstitions, and her most dangerous inquiries, her own heart sewn and bound. It should be difficult to hand it over to a near stranger, even impossible, but it isn't. Juniper didn't have any friends growing up. The girls at school weren't allowed to visit the Eastwood farm either because the whispers of witching that surrounded Mama Mags, or the alcohol fumes that surrounded their daddy, or the ugly rumors about just how their mother died. Awful suspicious, people muttered. I heard she was fixing to leave him before that. One way or another, it was only ever Juniper and her sisters, and the green, green mountainside, and the fire. It was just Juniper, and after the fire, it was just Juniper and the mountain. Juniper figured that she wasn't missing much anyhow. Her daddy said women were like hens, flocking together and pecking at one another, and Juniper didn't want to be a hen. But the whole month after signing up with the suffragists to end the tyranny of man, she started to suspect that her daddy was dead wrong. She doesn't like the association ladies. Lots of them are fancy, fur-lined coat types who look at Juniper like a yellow dog that wandered into the wrong neighborhood. But even the snotty ones are there for the same reason. They've come to lend their white-gloved hands to the same work. It makes Juniper think of the quilting circles that Mama Mags used to talk about. A whole valley's worth of women would huddle in somebody's kitchen, and all their tiny stitches would add up to something bigger than themselves. That's interesting. I'm going to read that again so that sinks in. I think this quote's important. It makes Juniper think of the quilting circles that Mama Mags used to talk about, where a whole valley's worth of women would huddle in somebody's kitchen, and their tiny stitches would add up to something bigger than themselves. And not all of them are snotty. There's Miss Stone, who's always busy, but never smiles, but inspires a fervent, infectious loyalty among her troops. And the secretary, Jenny Lind, who keeps to herself, but proves to have a surprising weakness for Juniper's witch tales. A fat and fashionable widow is named Inez Gilmore, and she has more money than the Pope, and keeps offering Juniper various hats and bonnets to cover her sawn-off hair. There's an older woman, Electa Gage, who keeps muttering about chaining themselves to public buildings like the English ladies did. Juniper doesn't understand what this is supposed to achieve, but she admires the spirit of it, and she likes Electa very much. Sometimes when they're all together laughing and arguing, it feels like having sisters again. Juniper can almost forget that Agnes is a seething silence on the other side of the city, and that Bella is so stiff and buttoned up that it's like living with a department store mannequin. Bella's been leaving early and staying late every day, working on some mysterious research that leaves her sleeves stained with ink and her eyes bloodshot. She comes home with a distracted, distant air, her little black notebook clutched in her hand. And when Juniper questions her, what is she looking for? Does she know what that sign means, and what called the tower to them, and what sent it anyway? Well, she evades and delays and never quite says. Maybe Juniper wouldn't take it so personal-like, except last week she visited Bella's office unannounced and found a colored girl in men's coats sitting on top of her desk. Bella blushed and said she was an interested party, but that didn't say what she was interested in, or why. After that, she figured she would wait until Bella was sound asleep some night and sneak that little black notebook out from under her pillow and find out for herself what the tower is and who called it Haykels. She has certain suspicions, of course. In the meantime, she has Jenny and Inez and Electa and an endless stream of committees and subcommittees to keep her busy. She didn't think throwing down the tyranny of man would take so many meetings, but apparently it does. After the third or fourth meeting that leave Juniper face down on her agenda, praying for the sweet release of her untimely death, Miss Stone takes pity on her and assigns her instead to the practical work of preparing for the march at the Centennial Fair. It's unglamorous to hang flyers on iron sashes and paint slogans, but it beats endless rounds of yays and nays. She's crouched in the back room of the association headquarters, painting the final N on the Votes for Women sign and swearing every time the brush bristles break. and the doorbell jingles. An unctuous voice calls, "Hello? Excuse me?" And Juniper hears Jenny say, how may I help you, sir?" A timid boot steps entering into the office, and then a voice too low for Juniper to catch. She figures she can ignore it, probably just another monk come to complain about their heathen ways, or a reporter come to provoke scandalizing quotes, until Jenny herself appears in the doorway looking pale. "Miss Stone, please come quick." Miss Stone marches to the front of the office with a polite, cold iron expression that Juniper has come to think of as her battle armor. Juniper and the others trail after her like squires or maybe foot soldiers. In the front of the office, they find a cringing, watery-eyed gentleman accompanied by his cringing, watery-eyed dog. Juniper thinks that he looks like an aging, human-sized pill bug, ready to roll up into a ball if anything even startles him. He and his dog blink up at the ladies now filing into the room. "Apologies for calling unannounced, ladies, but I'm afraid I do come bearing bad news." He addresses his remarks to no one in particular, eyes skittering from frowning face to frowning face. "I come as a representative of the New Salem City Council, and we regret to inform you that the council has, withdrawn its approval for your march at the Centennial Fair on the 1st of May, in light of the current climate." Juniper doesn't see what the weather has to do with anything. Wet and gray, but warming fast. The promise of summer steaming up from the cobblestones. She knows horseshit when she hears it. Miss Stone crosses her arms. "On what grounds, sir? Our petition was approved weeks ago by the mayor's office." The man smiles at her. It's a repellent expression, wormy and crawling. His dog licks its teeth, a cringing grin. "Oh, I'm afraid the council overrode Mayor Worthington on this issue. We wouldn't want to alarm the citizenry any further with such antics." He makes a hand gesture that might refer to the march or the association or the entire concept of women's rights. Miss Stone starts to say something measured and polite, but Juniper cuts her off. "Yeah, and just who the hell are you to tell us what to do?" He and his dog swivel toward her, their eyes finding hers in the crowded room. The dog lifts its head cautiously, sniffing the air, and its owner smiles again. She likes his smile even less. "I beg your pardon. This is Lady..." He tugs the leash, and the dog flinches. I'm a member of the city council, running as an independent candidate in the fall. Mr. Gideon Hill, at your service." This is Gideon Hill? Juniper's seen his posters plastered all over town, read his nasty quotes in the paper. She thought he'd be somebody substantial, a handsome, square-jawed man like Daddy, capable of charming the paint off a fence post if he put his mind to it. But this man was just a stooped, middle-aged man in a creased-lined suit with thinning hair and furtive eyes. A ripple's gone around the room as the other association members rustle to one another. Miss Stone makes another attempt at civility. "Well, we are pleased to meet you, Mr. Hill. We would like to appeal the council's decision on this matter, but we don't want to make any trouble." She ignores Electa's mutter of "speak for yourself," and Juniper snorts. "Oh, I'm afraid it was a unanimous decision." Mr. Hill doesn't sound very sorry about this. It sure does sound familiar, Jen. Though his shoulders are curved inward and his tone is contrite. "It is the council's duty to protect the city from sin and vice. New Salem must not follow the path of its namesake." Juniper figures he means Old Salem, the city taken by witches and devils in the 17 whatevers. It's just a scorch ruined now, good for nothing, but they do have ghost stories. Hill continues. "Thus the council is obliged to forbid..." Yeah, and what if we don't give a damn what the council forbids? Juniper hears Miss Stone give a soft sigh, but she doesn't care. Hill looks at her again. She's expecting him to sputter with outrage, to gasp at her daring, but he doesn't. Instead, he offers her another smile, even more sickly than the others. "What did you say your name was again, miss?" And just like that, all the fight goes out of her. Most of the wanted posters are sun, faded, and tattered now, but not all of them, and she knows that Hill and his kind would love nothing better than a real live witch to string up. She swallows. June West." "And, where are you from, Miss West?" Miss Stone rescues her, sailing between Juniper and Hill like a white-winged ship. Thank you for informing us of the council's decision, Mr. Hill. The association will take it under advisement. Yes, the baby's here. She's here. Good day, girls. Mr. Hill bows his head and turns away, but his dog doesn't follow. She remains crouched, inky eyes fixed on Juniper, iron collar. Oh, yeah? Yeah, you're mad at Mr. Hill. He's mean, huh? Iron collar biting into her throat. Hill gives the leash a vicious tug, and she follows her master out the door. The bell tinkles cheerily as they leave. Juniper limps to the window to watch them go, and Mr. Gideon Hill scurries down the street with his hands clasped behind his back and his dog trotting obediently at his heels. In the late afternoon, their shadows are black and long and larger than their owners. Juniper watches as she sees Mr. Hill's shadow ripple strangely, as if it isn't quite under. Hi. Yeah? What else? Oh, what else? You're mad at him. Under its master's command, fear slicks down her spine, and she recalls that by the evidence of the Black Tower, there is at least one unknown witch in the city working towards the end of her own. But why would she... What is it, sweetie? What is it? What is it? Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Fear slicks down her spine, and she recalls that by the evidence of the Black Tower, there's at least one unknown witch in the city. Oh, yeah? We're almost done. Okay. I know. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Cuddle up. You're all right. I know it's sad. It's a sad, sad tale. I know. We don't like Mr. Hill either. We don't like Mr. Hill either. I know, it's hilarious, isn't it, Sloth? Oh no, we don't need a break. We're almost done. The chapter's almost over. But why would she be witching a sniveling city councilor rather than, say, quietly poisoning him in his sleep? She hears raised voices behind her, catches stray words like unfair, unjust, and then nothing we can do. Some objects almost certainly... someone objects. Almost certainly it was Electa. Nothing legal we can do, you mean? Someone else gives a little gasp, and Juniper thinks it must be that Susan B. woman, a mummified Victorian type who wears an honest-to-Eve monocle and treats Juniper like a cleaning girl. We aren't criminals, Miss Gage. Electa starts to reply, but Miss Stone cuts across her. Nor can we afford to become so, Electa. There's no heat to it, merely old sounds. She sounds very tired. Ladies, do we have a quorum present? Let's discuss our response. She shepherds her flock into the back offices again. Only Jenny lingers. June? Juniper's watching Hill's shadow disappear around the corner, trying to decide if it seems darker than the other shadows. Denser. They're calling a meeting. Don't you think we ought to join? No. Juniper turns away from the window. I don't. I think we ought to march at Centennial Fair. To her considerable credit, Jenny doesn't gasp or squeal. She looks straight back at Juniper, level and hard, and Juniper sees a fierce spark in her eyes, and she wonders for the first time how Jenny's nose even got broken, and if she was ever anything other than a part-time secretary with corn silk hair. Miss Stone won't like it, she observes. No. Juniper likes Miss Stone, but she's gotten too used to hearing the word no. Yeah, well, it'll do her good to see a woman take no and shove it back down somebody else's throat. The police, they'll never let us in. So we disguise ourselves until the very last second, and then we disappear before showing up. I know the words and the way. Juniper can tell by Jenny's flinch that she knows what kind of words and ways Juniper means, and she can tell by the sly shine of her eyes that she doesn't mind it, and she's tired of hearing no, too. Juniper smiles, all teeth. I think you've already got the will. Ooh, very interesting. Aw, thank you. I'm glad you love how I read. I appreciate it. Well, that was an interesting chapter. So they're getting banned from the fair, but will they go anyway? I sure hope so. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
That's Miss Nugget.
Miss Nugget is doing great. She's sleepy, but we're done now, so we'll go find something else to do. Maybe we'll wake up and eat before Grandma comes. What do you think? Or maybe we'll wait till Grandma comes to eat. Who's to say? She only ate an hour ago, so it's not really time to eat yet.
Yeah.
It's not really.
Well, it's not. That has not been true lately. But
yeah, but she's still asleep. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all tomorrow for more. We will find out.
Maybe I should wear that thing at night when I'm watching.
Maybe, yeah.
Seems to work.
Well, we love having young book club members. This is a great book for someone your age to be reading. It's very, it's poignant, it's timely, and if you ever have, you know, like a book that you need to do a report on for a class, this would be a great choice for someone in the types of classes you'd be taking. So give it a look up. It's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, you should. It's good for everybody to get into reading. I will never tell anyone no on that. But we're going to go and we are going to see Grandma, and we'll see you all tomorrow for more reading. Have a great day, you guys.